What if we made Fallout 4 survival mode even harder? A Nuzlocke is a high difficulty challenge designed for Pokemon games. I set out to make the same challenge in Fallout 4. The rules are simple. Every time I die, the last weapon type I used is dead for the rest of the run. I spent over 30 hours on my first attempt, and with less than 70 weapon types in the base game, the odds were not in my favor. Oh yeah, also, no VATS, no power armor, and no companions, because they make the game baby mode, and I'm not a baby. Seriously, I'm like a grown man. Please stop asking if I'm a baby. It's getting a little weird. The next thing you know, I have a face, bombs are falling, I'm an ice cube, love thaws my frozen heart, and I'm ready to go get my very first weapon. In honor of Nuzlocke, we will be naming all of our weapons after various Pokemon. So meet our starter, everyone, Blastoise, the police baton, who I am certain we will love and cherish throughout this entire run. Clearing Sanctuary with Codsworth wasn't overly noteworthy, so I was straight off to the Museum of Freedom to meet up with Mr. Gravy. I did pick up a few encounters along the way though, including Piplup the Switchblade, Torkoal the Tire Iron, Pidgey the Pipe Pistol, Cacturne the Caltrops, and technically Machop the Fists? I suppose I've technically had him the whole time, but we'll call it now. I did also pick up a 10 mil along the way, but we'll talk about that a bit later. Outside the museum, I was able to grab one more encounter in Mimikyu the Pool Cue, who I could tell was going to be a game changer. I missed! Or not. So after making my way back to the museum and choosing not to die this time, I was able to snag Murkrow the laser musket on my way inside. Making my way through the museum wasn't overly difficult, so next thing you know, I was headed to the crashed vertibird up on the roof to save the last Minuteman. This says I need a strength of 8. Buff out gives me a strength of 2. Let's go! Oh wait, we have to get off the roof. Let's hope for the best here. Whoop! Okay, we're good. We're golden. The Raiders and Deathclaw were no match for me and Kangaskhan, and obviously we fought them in a courageous and manly way, and not at all by exploiting the Deathclaw's large frame in a small doorway. So after making it through the game's tutorial mission with only a single death, I started feeling a little overconfident and maybe taking on some fights that I could have avoided. Oh no, he doesn't do that much damage. Okay. Let's try. He does do that much damage. While mourning the loss of my precious Voltorb, the pipe bolt action, I happened across the Drumlin Diner, where Trudy and Wolfgang were having a little bit of a spat about the drug money that she owed him. So I threw on my nicest dress to convince her to pay, and not only did she not agree to pay up, but she actually started attacking them and convinced them that I was her accomplice. Well, we can see how that turned out. Oh, there's no shot. No shot. What the crap? Well, there go Knuckles. I don't really care much. This was starting to get a little personal for me. Not only did Trudy completely disrespect my very nice dress, but she roped me into a deathmatch that I had no hope of winning. This was not on Wolfgang. Trudy is the true monster here, and she was gonna have to pay. Oh shh! I stabbed her with the knife. Losing Piplup here hurt a lot, actually. He was the first friend I had made after exiting the vault and had become a staple of the run ever since. But the run did need to go on, so I swallowed what was left of my pride, put my dress back on, and convinced Trudy to pay her debts. Leaving Drumlin Diner and feeling a little bit defeated, I needed a win. I happened across Thicket Excavations, and with my newly acquired Aqua Boy perk, I figured it would be some easy caps in my pocket to help Sully Mathis fix the place up. But I did sort of forget about a pretty key element of that quest. Why is it legendary? Why is it legendary? Okay, well, we can use Caltrops and bear traps here. He hit the bear trap. He hit the bear trap. After loading back into the game, not only was I down Mawile the bear trap, but I noticed something much, much worse. I hadn't slept in a bed since before the Drumlin Diner. I had to face Trudy again. But maybe Mawile's sacrifice was a blessing in disguise. Trudy had been able to walk with all of the atrocities she had brought upon me and my friends. No, she needed to pay for the things that she had done, and this time there are only two outcomes. Either I stopped breathing, or Trudy did. And punch her in the face. Ah! Just stagger him. Now after getting sweet vengeance on Trudy and that one Mirelurk at Thicket Excavations, it became pretty apparent that I needed to up my arsenal, so it was time to hit up some of those early game locations that can give you a real power boost. And where better to start than Corvega? Now, in your average survival playthrough, Corvega can feel like one of the first actual challenges you face in a run. And considering I was already 5 deaths in at this point, I wasn't feeling the most confident. To top it off, there was a bit of an incident on the way to Corvega that seemed a little unfair.
There's a boatload of ghouls somewhere around here. Oh! You're kidding me. You're kidding me. Excuse the actual crap out of me? Hello?
Losing Polyrath before even getting to Corvega kind of hurt, but here the objective was pretty simple. Get in, take out the raider boss, get out, and get some sweet, sweet XP. That's a little easier said than done, though.
Oh wait, we killed Jared apparently.
Or not, actually. That went surprisingly well, but I might have gotten a little bit carried away on my way out.
Let's go! Get out of here!
Either way, shocking even myself, we were able to get out of Corvega and turn in the quest without any more casualties. And after turning in that quest, Preston awarded us with what might be the singular best encounter of this entire run. Flareon, the flare gun. So this is a good time to talk about disposable weapons, which is why I'm genuinely excited to get Flareon and even the Caltrops from earlier. These are weapons that technically deal damage, but would never be used in an actual fight to take down an enemy. The benefit to having them is that if I see a scenario where I'm definitely going to die, if I can use them to deal some damage before I do, then I'll lose them instead of whatever good weapon I'm trying to save. So just know that for the rest of the run, Flareon will be with us as a sort of sacrificial cheerleader, just in case we ever need to take a death. Also, while scavenging the surrounding area, something pretty great happened. Meet Slowbro, a 10mm pistol that will slow down time as soon as the last round is chambered. Hopefully it'll come in handy. After that, I decided to pay a visit to the Brotherhood of Steel, so it was time to trot over to ArcJet with Dance Dance Revolution, where I was able to pick up the junk jet, Dance got ad victoriumed by a rocket, and I picked up about 1 billion fusion cells. I had one more quest on my checklist of potential power boosts, and that was Diamond City Blues. For anyone that doesn't know, Diamond City Blues is by far your best way to get drugs early in the game, and it was becoming very obvious how much I was going to need to rely on them. There was one minor hiccup, however, with the starting of the quest, because apparently Henry Cook has a shotgun. I'm truly sorry, Machop, you little abomination. You deserved better. With a pretty significant power boost under our belt, however, it was time to take on a pretty important venture to this run. The Freedom Trail. That's right, we've been leading up to joining the railroad this entire time. If you're wondering why, it's really simple. They're the best faction? Following the Freedom Trail was actually going pretty well until I hit a bit of a roadblock just past Good Neighbor.
Okay. Nope.
While losing Snover, the board was very disappointing. It was just a couple of ghouls, so we could just hop our way back on through without any issues.
I swear I blocked. Don't do it. Just gonna die. Just gonna die and take it.
That was so stupid! You know, at this point, I don't even know if I should be angry or just embarrassed. But forget it. Let's roll the battle music, because it is time to get serious.
Did I get both of them? It did not. It blew his arm off though, so he's bound to be almost dead.
The ghoul knocked me into the grenade thrown by a raider. They're conspiring against me, and I lost my starter. Ah!
I'm going insane. That's what's happening right now. I'm going insane. It is a ghoul. It's just a standard stinking ghoul roamer that I've killed 800 of. And for some reason,
Screw you and everything you stand for. So dumb. That one literally comes out of nothing. Bring it. Okay. Rolling pin coming in clutch. We're fine.
with that finally taken care of, it's time to fully mourn Snover, Ludicolo, and Blastoise. With my sanity finally restored, I convinced the railroad far too easily that I am an ally of theirs and I'm off to get a prototype with Deacon. Usually the mission to recover Doc Harrington's prototype is actually pretty difficult. With multiple active turrets, a boatload of synths, and an active minefield. There are plenty of ways to die here, but thankfully, I've done this quest a lot. There was one tragedy along the route though, where we did discover that yes, synths are harder than rolling pins. Azumarill helped us avenge our friends only a moment ago, and now we lay to rest another soldier. But as they say, when a door closes, a window opens, and through that window flew our newest friend. Almost like a present on a cold winter's night was Delibird, the Deliverer. Now, as I escape from the clutches of the Institute, let's very quickly talk about weapon types. There are a bunch of different weapon types in Fallout 4, and each one has their own associated perks. Now, I won't be taking all of those perks, so for this particular playthrough, I'm going to be focusing on semi-auto rifles, explosives, and melee weapons, which I'll be taking the perks for, and the rest of the weapons will be a bit less useful to me. And that's why Delibird's so great. It's a strong weapon, but since it's a pistol, I don't have to be overly worried about using it, because I know it won't get stronger as the run goes on. So now we're finally starting to move out of the early game and into the mid-game, and I've started getting a little careless. For starters, I kind of just decided to strut through the common and expected Swan to be asleep because he tends to always be, but apparently that's not guaranteed.
Why is Swan up and moving around? What the crap? Who poked the bear? Oh, shoot.
But while I lost Garbodor the junk jet there, that still didn't dissuade me from making questionable decisions. Like immediately afterwards when I went to the mass fusion building just to try and get the strength bobblehead halfway up. There were only 2 casualties of this endeavor, but both were pretty bad. First, I lost Raichu, my Institute rifle, and while Institute weapons are by no means great, I was planning on saving it until a little bit later in the run. The second one was much worse though. I somehow managed to lose Murkrow, my laser musket that I got back when I rescued Preston from the Museum of Freedom. Murkrow has seen me through a lot of the hardest challenges of this run so far, and I've become a little bit dependent on it, so moving forward without it is gonna really stink. After screwing that up pretty bad, I figured it was time to actually start helping the Railroad with their problems, and so it was time for Boston After Dark. Now for anyone that hasn't done this quest, it's a pretty straightforward quest where you clear out a location to meet up with H222, a runaway synth who you help escort to the Ticonderoga safe house, where the quest then ends. That was a lot easier said than done. For starters, the initial location that you clear out normally just contains low-level raiders, but this time just happened to spawn a legendary raider. And if that wasn't bad enough, this legendary raider had a combat rifle.
No!
On my first attempt at clearing this, I lost Hitmonchan the boxing glove, which was a huge bummer, but I was becoming much more concerned at how this could possibly snowball out of control. Ultimately, I just wasn't really equipped to handle this, but yet I was already in the thick of it. At that point though, a hero emerged. Torkoal the Tire Iron, recently outfitted with a rusty blade, somehow managed to just brute force his way through the entire thing, taking out everyone there. Crisis averted.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Thankfully, I've played through this quest quite a few times before, so I'm pretty familiar with where all the enemy spawns are during the escort part of the mission, so it went off largely without a hitch.
Okay, that went fine. I think we're just kind of on to the point where I'm going to use the 10 mil for a while unless, I mean, I'll still use... What?
According to Steam, I have over 1,500 hours in Fallout 4. I have played through this quest at least a dozen times, and I have never, ever seen a cluster of landmines on the other side of the bridge right before Ticonderoga safe house. And to top it off, this claimed Slowbro, the only random legendary weapon that we found in this entire run that could actually be useful to us. When going to attempt this quest for a third time, I was starting to get a little bit worried that the situation with Torkoal from before might have just been a case of really good luck. So I figured I'd play things a little bit safer this time by using frag grenades so I could stay out of the line of fire. Well, not only did that not work, but I also lost Geodude the frag grenade before really getting to do much else with him. If explosives weren't the answer, maybe I could just sort of outrange them by using my hunting rifle from a much farther distance. I'll be honest, that one really hurt. Kingdra was one of the first few weapons I could see myself using for the entirety of the run, and to lose it this early after barely getting to use it at all, I was starting to get really concerned. I needed a winner. No, more than a winner, I needed a hero. A hero that had already looked this death in the face once before and prevailed. I needed Torkoal again.
Where's the other guy at? Where's the one that kills me every time? There he is.
Torkoal, having paved the way for us, opened the door to get through the rest of this quest, through the entire escort mission, past the landmines safely this time, and to Ticonderoga Safe House with H-222 in tow. Now, in Tycon Safe House, I just so happened to find a Fat Man and a mini nuke, which brought an interesting question to mind. How was I going to use the Fat Man in this run? It weighs far too much to just keep on you, so you kind of have to use it with a purpose. And I had a great one in mind. What if we just went ahead and took on Swan? Now, I was a little under-leveled to fight Swan right now, but if Fallout 3 taught me anything, it's that the Fat Man is designed to take down a super mutant behemoth. So I scooted my way over to the Common and geared myself up for the most intense fight of the entire run. Nope. I saw that going differently in my head. Goodbye, Snorlax. Our time together was brief, but at least you went out in style. At this point, I decided it was time to finally get back to the main questline and go save Nick Valentine from the Triggermen. Now, the Triggermen can be tricky enemies if you're not ready for them, but I've played this game a lot, and I have to do this quest every time, so I'm incredibly familiar with it. The only problem was going to be dealing with Skinny Malone. Yeah, Skinny Malone's not actually all that difficult to deal with if you've played the game before. As long as you place a landmine where he's going to be standing on your way in, then on the way out he kind of just self-destructs. Then it was time to follow Dogmeat over to Fort Hagen, and by that I mean walk straight there because I've played this game dozens of times and I know exactly where it is. Clearing out the synths in Fort Hagen went about as smooth as it ever has, so next thing you know, I was staring down the monster that had killed my family, and my entire team and me were ready for some sweet revenge. Thankfully, Kellogg wasn't too much of an issue, and I was able to add Tauros to the party since he clearly wouldn't be needing him anymore. After watching the Pridwin arrive to bring inflated egos and peace to the Commonwealth, I stumbled across something truly incredible. Excuse me. And with that, I added Mr. Mime to the team, and something about holding that little freak show in my hand really made me think. This gun was really strong right now, but pretty much useless to me at the end of the run. So why not put it to the best use I can think of? A rematch against Swan.
Come on, come on. Come on. Come on.
After taking down Swan and adding Primate to the team, I was starting to feel pretty good about the number of weapons I had that were very usable, but not overly devastating to lose. Which honestly is really good because I decided it was time to rip off one of the worst band-aids of any Fallout 4 playthrough. It's time for the Glowing Sea. The plan for the Glowing Sea was to not bring anything that I was not okay with losing, and to only take on fights when absolutely necessary. As you'll see, however, even this was a bit of a tall order.
One shot. Oh, I lost the double barrel. Oh, that worked. Keep going, hit him in the butt. No, 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 no. Can I survive this? I survived it. Maybe. I'm dead. Yeah, I'm dead.
Having lost Doduo, Primate, and Mr. Mime, it was becoming clear that I needed a change in tactics. I was just trying to fight things far too much. And this is where Flareon comes back into the picture. The new plan was simple: shoot something with a flare and run like crazy. So I give you the Flareon attempt.
It's time. We have hit him with the flare gun. Oh, is that another Deathclaw? That's another Deathclaw! That's so funny! Holy crap! Where's he even at? Oh, there he is! Ah!
Come on, go! They can't follow me up here, I don't think.
Holy crap, we're in the crater!
I could not believe that I made it to the crater off of just shooting something with a flare and running. Of course, there's still the matter of the scripted Deathclaw right outside of Virgil's cave, so I wasn't quite in the clear just yet.
That's all it took?
That was so much easier than what I'd been trying. Honestly, if you told me that the Glowing Sea would really hinge on Flareon and Delibird, I don't think I would have believed you, but after talking to Virgil, all that was left was to pop a flare into the nearest enemy and sprint like a madman towards the edge of the Glowing Sea. After a pretty good first Glowing Sea, I was ready for the easiest time killing a courser in my life. and naturally, green tech genetics went perfectly. Okay, let's be real, Tauros was not long for this world anyway, but after losing Tauros, I kid you not, the rest of it did go perfectly. We made it all the way to the top without any more deaths, and, well, the Courser fight went better than I could have hoped.
I did not mean to engage this in this manner. Don't you dare stim pack, you piece of crap! No, I heard that! You're dead!
And another tough foe falls at the hand of Torkoal. I'm gonna be honest with you, this guy's starting to feel like the ace up my sleeve. During that fight, you also probably noticed the debut of Camerupt, our brand new missile launcher that we got off of a very particularly dead gunner. You'll start to notice her popping up more and more now, especially with some of the more difficult enemies. And thanks to both her and Delibird, I was able to manage a deathless second trip through the glowing sea. This part in the quest line gets mega boring, so let's speed run through this, shall we? I build a teleporter, get zapped into the Institute, meet Father, meet Patriot, meet Matthew Mercer, then I do a bunch of science mumbo jumbo for a piece of power armor that I can't use that isn't really important to the quest whatsoever. Then I go kill a bunch of random synths for Matthew Mercer, and then just like that, it's time to boot, scoot, and boogie our way over to Libertalia. Being honest here, there's exactly one problematic enemy at Libertalia, and he's holding a fat man. So to get around this as much as possible, I chose to just swim up to the main ship instead of fighting all the rest of the raiders using my Aqua Boy perk and like my legs, I guess. First attempt, I just kind of needed to figure out where he was, so I equipped my most expendable weapon and just kind of charged straight in. So long, Farfetch'd. You very much served your purpose. This is a good time to highlight another core member of our team in Torterra, the pipe revolver rifle. While I've been using him for a while off and on, he's really stepped up to the plate lately as a sort of pseudo-sniper rifle, especially since I sort of screwed up my chance to use any of the game's actual sniper rifles.
He's moving, he's on the move, he's on the move, he's on the move. Oh, I got him!
After X688 forcibly shut down the leader of the raiders, Torkoal made pretty quick work of all of his lackeys. Then, after way too much chatting with way too many people, it was time for the Battle of Bunker Hill. Now, for anyone that doesn't know this, if you're allied with every major faction during the Battle of Bunker Hill, no one will attack you. So if you're patient and wait it out, it's actually a really easy quest. Unless, of course, you're impatient like me, then you attack the Brotherhood of Steel straight on and get killed by a knight, therefore losing your machete named Scyther. Having learned from my mistakes, the second time through I, didn't die, so things went a lot more smoothly. Well, for me at least. For Father and the Institute, things went horribly because I didn't do a single thing that they asked me to, but for some reason he seemed weirdly okay with it. Then of course I got the joy of sitting through the best part of every Fallout 4 playthrough, the Directorate. Now, Sharpedo, the submachine gun, has been in the team for about half the run at this point and not really gotten to do anything, so after sitting through the most boring part of the game, it seemed like a fun time to let him off his leash on a random group of raiders on my way to my next objective. Whoops. Sorry about that, Sharpedo, but thank you for your loyal service. You certainly were a weapon that I did own. And in case that clip wasn't stupid enough, I hadn't slept since completing the best part of Fallout 4, so it was time to once again visit the Direct. And now it was finally time for mass fusion, so I loaded up and headed over there with an Institute scientist that's so insignificant I cannot be bothered to remember their name to take on the Brotherhood of Steel. We did have one minor hiccup on the roof where I ended up losing Lucario, my revolutionary sword, but otherwise it didn't go too poorly. I always get a little nervous for the elevator ride on the way down mass fusion just because you're trapped in one spot while being shot at, but most of the Brotherhood soldiers were a pushover. I used Pidgey for almost the entire thing, so not too bad, really. Let's be really honest here. The Brotherhood aren't really the concern in mass fusion. Honestly, the soldiers here are significantly weaker than the ones you fight at Bunker Hill. No, the problem in mass fusion is the robots in the basement. So after grabbing the weird tube out of the shiny electric ball in the basement, we were then confronted with Robo Hoedown.
Kill something, please. Okay, we're gonna have epic Fallout 4 melee combats. That one's gonna hit that and die, which is cool. Ah! Come on! Ah! No! I forgot they blow up at the end.
After that, we're force-fed a bunch of Institute plot that doesn't matter in the slightest, and something about some dude in a closet, but what's important is Matt Mercer finds us and lets us know that the Brotherhood has found Railroad HQ. So after making it to the railroad, they rewarded us with Bastiodon, the railway rifle, which in hindsight was a weird decision considering we were actively under attack. I actually had a really good plan in place for this fight. See, since the Brotherhood is attacking us, we have the home field advantage. So there's no reason I can't just booby-trap the entirety of HQ with landmines. On top of that, I'm bringing back Kangaskhan. You remember Kangaskhan, right? From the tutorial with the Deathclaw and all the manliness? Well, we were ready to go for round 2. Admittedly though, on the first attempt here, I did sort of forget to lay the mines out in advance, and you can see how that went. After losing Fortress, I decided the second time around maybe I should do a little bit of prep in advance. Ooh, got one. What? I'm confused. Why is the railroad mad at me? If they take residual damage from my landmines, they come after me, what do I do? Flareon's done wonderful by us, but I think we sacrificed the flare gun here to start over. We now know we can't use landmines here. That's so stupid. Switch to the flare gun. Freaking shoot Desdemona with it, I guess. I think I just go down here, right? That really, really sucked. Especially since it was entirely avoidable and completely my fault. I didn't think for a minute that the railroad would turn on me even if some of them got hit by one of my landmines, but I guess I was wrong. While I still believe choosing to lose Flareon here was the right decision, that didn't make it any easier. Flareon had been the cheerleader for this entire run and stood by us as we lost friend after friend along this journey. Now, to have such a valued team member stripped away from us, the Brotherhood had to pay for what they had done. Unfortunately, the carnage wasn't even done there. Claydol fell immediately afterwards at the hand of the Brotherhood. And while yes, Claydol was partially responsible for what happened to Flareon, we all know who's really at fault here. The Brotherhood of Steel is a plague on the Commonwealth that needs to be dealt with, but first we have to get them out of our HQ. The team started to pick up steam to avenge their fallen friends. Kangaskhan, Gardevoir, and everyone we brought with us started taking the fight to the Brotherhood like I never believed possible. And believe me when I say that every single Brotherhood of Steel soldier that entered Railroad HQ that day lay dead on the floor. But that wasn't nearly enough. The Brotherhood still reigned over all of the Commonwealth in the skies. This had to be stopped. We could not live peacefully in this world while this flying reminder of the loss of our friend loomed over us all. The Brotherhood had to go down, and we were going to take the fight to them. But in order to do that, we needed a way up to the Pridwen, so we were off to the Cambridge Police Department to hijack our very own vertibird. There's not really a whole lot to say about this part in the questline though, considering it's honestly a little bit easier than what we just had to deal with. Grumpig, Gardevoir, and Torterra were able to make pretty quick work of not only all the Brotherhood soldiers in the police station, but also the ones in the vertibirds that they flew in. And before you knew it, we had our very own vertibird up in the skies, and we were taking the fight to the Pridwen itself. Now, if you've never completed the Red Glare quest with the railroad before, the idea is that you're supposed to covertly sneak onto the Pridwen while disguised as a Brotherhood soldier to plant explosive charges and then get out of there to blow the Pridwen out of the sky. See, the problem is, if you get even slightly close to any significant Brotherhood soldier, they'll trigger dialogue with you, and once they've done so, if you don't pass the right speech checks, everyone starts attacking, and my charisma is abysmally low. And to top it all off, even if you're able to sprint your way out of the Pridwen while under fire, when you get back to the vertibird, there's a very long boarding animation that plays before you can actually take off, during which you can very, very easily die. While trying to route this and figure out the best way to go about it, we lost Gardevoir and Haunter. And then, to make things absolutely the worst they possibly could be, we lost Torkoal. Torkoal had been with us literally since Sanctuary and had made it through some of the hardest parts of the run and avenged many, many fallen companions. Losing him this late in the run when we were so close to making it to the Institute for the final showdown really, really was a hard pill to swallow. And once again, the Brotherhood of Steel had taken something precious from all of us. They could not be allowed to continue in this way. So I swallowed what was left of my pride, and I did the mission exactly as intended. I was sneaky. I blended in, I avoided dialogue, I planted all the charges, and I got off the Pridwin and onto our vertibird without ever once raising an alarm that I was ever there to begin with. And as we flew away, we flipped the switch to light the Pridwin up like a Christmas tree, and I watched in absolute glee as they crashed into the earth below them. Goodbye and good riddance, Brotherhood of Steel. With the Brotherhood finally dealt with, the only thing left to do was to take the fight straight to the Institute and free every synth we could along the way. Then when it's all said and done, just delete them from existence and let the Commonwealth finally be free. Now, since I was going into the last quest of the run, I decided it was time to implement one last rule to this Nuzlocke. In Pokemon games, you have a maximum party size of 6 Pokemon. With this final quest being our sort of champion fight for the run, it felt only fitting that I could only bring 6 weapons with me. That's it. If I die 6 more times, the run's over, I lose. These 6 will be all that I use for the rest of the run. The only question was who to bring. So without further ado, I present to you the champion team for the Fallout 4 Survival Nuzlocke. First up, hardy, reliable, and strong is Pidgey the Pipe Rifle. She's been with us since Sanctuary, and she comes with more ammo than I could possibly ever carry. Along the way, she has seen every single tragedy of this run, and she felt she owed it to her friends to see this through to the end, and I certainly wasn't going to stand in her way. Next up is actually the newest member of this group, Bastiodon the Railway Rifle. While new, he does very much symbolize everything the railroad stands for, and he's as stubborn as he is strong. He's quite the force to be reckoned with. Coming off of an extended stint on the sideline since the Glowing Sea is Camerupt the Missile Launcher. She's as lovable as she is hot-headed, and she is ready to burn it all to the ground. And then there's Grumpig the Laser Rifle. Mischievous and quick-witted, he never really takes the direct approach, but he always seems to come out on top in the end. And of course, we can't forget Torterra, the Pipe Revolver Rifle, who's gotten us out of many a tight spot in this run so far. Quite the gentle giant, he's surprisingly as quiet as he is insanely powerful. And finally, no champion team would be complete without Delibird the Deliverer. He's been a staple of our team for a very, very long time, and has avenged more fallen teammates than any other weapon we have remaining. Typically pretty fun-loving and cheerful, there's a darkness brewing behind those eyes that I do not envy our enemies for having to stare down. This is the team that will take down the Institute, or the team that will die trying. With that, we make our way to the Institute, teleport in everybody left of the railroad, and begin our onslaught. And let me tell you, the team was on fire. We were all unstoppable, every single member carrying their weight and just demolishing synth after synth on the way through. We fought our way through the access tunnels, we killed the synthetic gorillas, we made our way through the atrium, and before you knew it, we were standing in front of Father himself. And there was only one member of this team that was truly worthy of taking the life of the man who had caused the Commonwealth so much misery. And that was Delibird. With Father down, all we had to do was fight our way to the reactor and plant the charges, and that was it. There was no more Institute. We were on the home stretch of this run. Now, I hadn't done this quest in quite a long time, so I did forget that there was a legendary synth down there with what seemed to be an infinite supply of missiles. After multiple close calls, Camerupt, never one to be bested, finished off the final synth, clearing the path to the reactor. We were able to plant the charge, and Tinker Tom warped us out to the entrance where he met up with the Abomination Child, and then were teleported one final time to the top of the mass fusion building. All that remained was activating the detonator to finish off the Institute once and for all, therefore winning the Fallout 4 Survival Nuzlocke. If you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. This video was a ton of work to make, but I had a blast doing it, and the run itself was really fun. I highly recommend you give it a try. If you do want to try it yourself, I'll have the info in the description for all of the rules and the weapon breakdown. And also, if you liked this video, consider subscribing, because I have a lot more videos like it coming very soon. But until next time, thank you so much again for watching, and I'm Magoo, peacing out. Later.